Design a plan you will implement. Now, this really was resonating with me because I'm busy doing some planning of my own. I see September, the autumn, as a new beginning. It feels like a new year for me, and it's certainly a new beginning in respect that the kids go back to school. So you may also be at that stage of planning in and for your business. So one of the reasons I wanted to talk about planning today, and particularly designing a plan that you will implement, is because I know from experience, and certainly years ago, not so much now, I used to love planning. I was great at planning. I could plan like a ninja, but then I didn't do anything with the plan. So, months would go by, or I'd review it at 6 months or 12 months and go, well, I haven't done any of that stuff. And there were lots of reasons why. And some of them I will elaborate on today for you. But if you want to design a plan to grow your business, a plan to develop your business, to take it to the next level, to smash through an income level perhaps, or to develop the business in a new direction even, whatever it is that you are deciding that you need a plan for, there are a couple of things that I want you to keep in mind. One, make it easy. And I'm talking to myself as much as anybody else. And I know that my plans in the past didn't get implemented because they were just way too complicated. There were too many elements of it. It was huge. So there was almost no chance of me being able to achieve anything because it just felt overwhelming and I had overcomplicated everything. So make your plan easy for you to implement so you don't become overwhelmed and ignore it. Because when we get overwhelmed, we start to procrastinate. We'll do anything but the plan. It'll be really easy for you to fall off the plan, fall away from the path, find yourself following the next shiny thing. So always make it easy. Easy for you to follow, easy for you to implement, easy for you to track your progress. And make it fun. Too often, I see plans that are just so complex and there's no fun in it. And it's quite often, it's things that you think you've got to do. They say you've got to do. This person's doing, that business is doing. So I want you to think about what is going to be the best way for you to implement the plan. So when you're developing it, you need to know how you're going to implement it. And actually, if you're already feeling real resistance, then your plan's not going to take shape. Equally, and more importantly, you won't give the time that is necessary to that plan. So make it easy and make it fun. Think about the elements that are required. How can you have the most fun putting this plan into action? What ways, methods can you use to get the results that you want that feel good to you? Because if your plan doesn't feel good, if it's not easy, if it's not simple, you are not going to do it. It's going to get dusty on the shelf, or be one of those things that you create, spend ages doing, making it all look beautiful, and it's going to be filed away on your desktop and never seen again. When you're creating the plan, keep the outcome in mind. What is the bigger picture? Now, it's well worth asking yourself at this point if you're creating a short-term plan, medium or long. Short-term might be, which is what I'm doing now, between now and the end of the year. For you, it might be that it's around a specific topic or subject or elements of the business. It might be because you're growing a particular part of the business, or because you need to make some changes. So it could be really short-term. So ask yourself, is your plan the short term, the immediate? Is it medium, which I always think about is about a year, or is it longer term, so 3 years, 5 years? And yes, you can do all of that together. And there have been many times when I've done that. And certainly I have ways in planning in my business which absolutely look at 10 years into the future. So the planning that I'm doing at the moment is really, really short term, but I'm keeping the bigger vision in mind. And that's really important. Quite often I see plans that are created and you've lost sight of what's coming. You've lost sight of the bigger picture, of the vision. So make it easy, don't overcomplicate it, make it fun so you'll want to implement it. Keep the outcome in mind at the same point, deciding, are you creating something that's short, medium, or long term? At this point, it's also worth considering how this will impact your client. So thinking about the client journey, what difference it will make to the client, so that you're connecting in to those that you want to serve, connecting in to those that you want to deliver this service to, connecting in to those who will be buying your products, your offers, and your programs. And that's really, really important. I also want you, when you're thinking about your client, what is it you want for them? So in my business, what is it that I want my clients to achieve by working with me? And this is a really good point point in time to check in and ask yourself those questions. And actually, whether you're making a short, medium, or long-term plan, it makes no difference. But please do check in with your client and what you ultimately want for your client. The next one I was smiling about, the next point I wrote down was, decide who is doing what and by when. And depending on the type of business you have, and if you're a solopreneur, you might be going, well, it's all down to me. This is why it's so important, or even more important if you are a solopreneur, that your plan is easy to implement and that it's fun. Because otherwise you'll be back to overwhelm, you won't know where to start, you'll begin procrastinating, and before you know it, you're scrolling social media and days have passed. I exaggerate. But you get the idea, don't you? So if it is you that is delivering this plan, please make sure that you are not overwhelming yourself. So even if it's a short-term project, immediately you might see what can be done immediately, what needs to move out a little bit, maybe to that 7-8 month mark, or maybe you can even start to see that it is a longer term project, or that actually in the planning stage that you're at in the business, how you can stretch out what it is that needs to be done. Because if you overwhelm yourself, I guarantee you won't do anything. Well, I didn't. I'm hoping you'll be different from me, but just putting it out there that when we put too much into our plans, we don't even start them because they're just too overwhelming, which I've referred to many, many times already. One, I guess, final thing, because I like these to be really quick, because your time is precious. Make sure that you are tracking your progress so that you can celebrate the wins and the milestones. And the wins and milestones do not have to be massive. They are definitely not the end of the project if this is something that is project-based. This is certainly not you saying, well, these are all the things I need to change in the business because this is where I want it to go and this is where I want it to be in year 3. So this is what I'm going to keep focusing on, and then waiting till year 3. Again, that's an exaggeration. But please make sure that you are tracking your progress, that you are keeping an eye on what you are doing and how you're moving through the plan so that you can celebrate your wins and milestones, no matter how small. Because guess what? It's the small stuff that matters. It's those small wins. It's those small steps that will move you from where you are to where you want to be. I was writing something actually recently, the last couple of days, about the difference between goals and intentions. And the problem with goals, well, the great thing about goals is they give you something to aim for, they give you something to track. But the problem with them is that they are set in the future. And what happens is we focus on the gap between, let me try saying that again, the gap between where you are and where you want to be. So be aware of this. And that's why you need to be celebrating every small step, every small action, every phone call you make. Again, I'm exaggerating, but you get the idea. Do not wait until something major happens. So, if it's creating a new program, for instance. Celebrate the bare bones when you put it together. Celebrate when you've got the basics of what this is going to look like. If you're perhaps deciding that you need a new website, which is quite a big project, by the way, the first step is going, yep, I'm ready, I'm going to have one. And then it's about, one step could be researching all the websites in your industry, choosing what you like, what you don't like, looking at websites in other industries. One step, done. You'll have, just taking notes of what you love and what you don't like, making a note of all the websites, stuff that you've seen that you'd quite like to implement. That's a great thing to celebrate. You're already on the journey. What you're doing is you're celebrating the journey. What you're doing is celebrating every step of the journey, every single win, every step that you take. So just to recap, particularly if you're in that planning process or about to start it for the autumn and any time of the year, design a plan you will implement. Make it simple, make it easy to implement it. Make it fun, so it's the most fun for you to implement. Keep the outcome, the bigger picture in mind. Keep your client in mind. What do you want from them? Or what do you want for them, rather? And what difference will this plan being implemented, make to those clients? Decide, is this a short, medium, or long-term plan, or are you going all out and doing everything? Decide who is doing what and by when. And be kind to yourself if this is only you. Don't overwhelm yourself. Track your progress. Celebrate the wins and every tiny step.